ready for another lesson?
That you guys can't hear.
You cannot.
Whoa! And what up? And welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie and talking and podding podcast. I am
one
your
of those,
host.
right?
Yeah, it's not a movie. I can tell you that much. I'm your host this week. My name's Nathaniel. Your normal host, Adam, is out this week. He unavoidable delay. So the squadron is a trio yet again. This is going to be a bit of sizzle up. If you're new here, the way that works is that it's a little bit more relaxed. We're just chitting. We're just chilling, talking.
We're just hanging out.
Hanging. Yeah, I think Adam might text us a ranking at some point, but if not, we'll definitely get this officially ranked on our Entropy List later this week. But with all that being said, the movie we're talking about this week is Rebel Ridge. This is a movie that came out, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. For those of you maybe not in the know, it is a Netflix movie. It is available to stream currently. And it is directed by Jeremy Saulnier, who is a pod favorite, director of Green Room, as well as a couple good episodes, True Detective. His debut movie, Blue Ruin, is still pretty great as well. I think that might still be available to stream. And then he also has another Netflix movie called Hold the Dark. But it's been a little while since we saw our boy Jeremy. And he is returning with this movie, Rebel Ridge, starring, I believe it's Aaron Pierre, Anna Sophia Robb, and Don Johnson.
What a great name.
Don Johnson, one of the greats.
Yeah.
In general. Let me double check my knowledge here real quick. It is Aaron Pierre. Yep, that's where I got that right. But yeah, those are kind of your main three. David Denham also has a supporting role in here, as well as Emery Cohen. I'm going to call out, and I think that's going to be kind of the big ones overall. But yeah. This is one that I felt like kind of flew under the radar for a lot of folks. But I've seen film Twitter talk about it quite a bit. And then I want to say I sent the trailer in the group chat maybe a month or two ago. Overall, was pretty excited about it. And then, yeah, watched it last week and then said, hey, maybe we should do this for the pod. And so now here we are. So I will kick it off. Fellas, what are you thinking about Rebel Ridge?
Yeah, I'll pick it up first. So this is one I was only aware of, like I said, because you brought it up a few times in kind of the group chat we got going on. Because I inherently do not go on Netflix a ton to see that it was trending.
Sure.
Right. So then I go on Netflix. I was like, holy shit, this is actually one of the better films. Or I think it was like number 1 or number 2 trending by the time I went to click it. And went in blind, right? For the most part, we talked about it briefly, what it was, and this movie's pretty good, for a Netflix film. You know what I mean? Not to necessarily downplay it, but it's got a lot of redeeming qualities, and I think going in blind and kind of with lower expectations probably helps a ton.
Yep.
I think the bigger the expectations arise, this movie may kind of fault for some of that, but yeah, overall, it's good. It's shot really well, but as expected, if you've ever watched The Green Room or Blue Ruin,
Yep.
Kind of got the same high stakes mystery, kind of what's going on with these people or this organization, and the protagonist is awesome. Doesn't
star-making performance in my mind. Like Aaron Pierre has the goods.
Yeah, he's good. A lot of facial expressions, and also he doesn't have a ton of dialogue. A lot of his verbiage is like very direct.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like exposition dumps. But yeah, man,
a lot of good face acting.
I'll save for sure. I'll save the rest for spoilers. But yeah, Went in blind, like overall, I do like it. I would say that much for sure. And I can't tell you the last time that I liked a Netflix
Sure.
original adaptation. I'm trying to think. Like, I guess I don't watch a ton, to be fair, but I think I'd have to go back some years to where I was like, I watched one, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Like a Haunting of Hill House, maybe, or something like that. More a show, I'm sure, maybe.
Yeah,
like a Mike
right.
Flanagan. Yeah.
Right. Opposed to actual films.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents. We'll deep dive it into spoilers, but yeah, pleasantly surprised, and I like it. I would recommend. Ty?
Yeah, man. I also went in blind. I did. Obviously, I think it's kind of hard to want to watch trailers for Netflix movies. You usually just kind of hear about it and then you're just gonna turn it on. Not a ton of people watch the trailers, even though some of them do have trailers. And most of the time, even if they're not actual trailers, they're just cut scenes from the movie. But went in fairly blind. Other than the common saying of everybody saying, what did you call it, Nathaniel, like the week before?
I called it Black Rambo.
Sure, yeah. Very, very similar in that vein of, that's just kind of what I was hearing about it. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, I'm down to watch it. And I was an advocate for watching it this week as well, just because I heard some pretty decent things for it. So but yeah, I had a ton of fun. I think the combat that kind of happens is very cool. It's very interesting to kind of see. It's a little bit different. But overall, the story's good. I think everybody, who was on set or on camera obviously wanted to be there. I think there was some very good acting coming out of pretty much everyone's corner. Good writing, some pretty good shots overall, but yeah, there's only one shot that I think I didn't overly care for, but overall good movie, and I had a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting both of you guys going in as blind as possible. I think probably helped in some ways too, because I think this movie it subverts a lot of expectations. If someone came up to me and was like, "Hey, Jeremy Saulnier wrote a revenge thriller about a guy going after some cops," having seen Green Room and having seen Blue Ruin, I would like have in my mind a certain way that these things were gonna go. And I think he does a very interesting job of kind of twisting his way through those in a lot of ways. And looking at his filmography overall, I think you see that a lot. I think, in Green Room and in Blue Ruin as well, too, he's very comfortable playing with these kind of genre expectations and that kind of thing. I don't think I'll give up way too much more before we go into spoilers, but I will say, like, again, if you have seen the trailer, it may not be the movie that you're thinking it's going to be based off the trailers. And if you had someone say, hey, it's Black Rambo to you, it may be a little bit more different than what you're expecting on it, because I think even I remembered last week we were talking about it and I said, oh, we should do Rebel Ridge. And Blake, you said, I'm not 100% on this. Like, I feel like we might need to talk about, I think the way you phrased it was like black trauma as depiction on film and that kind of thing, and that carries a very heavy weight with it too. And as soon as you said that, I was like, oh shit, okay, hold on, I need to think about this. Like, should we do Rebel Ridge? And I think I'd be interested to hear more of your points on it and everything like that. But I feel like the trailer and the setup on that might lead you in one direction where the film itself is interested in going a different direction overall.
Okay, so I haven't watched the trailer, and I guess we'll talk about that when we go into spoilers to figure out what that entails.
For sure.
But yeah, valid point, and yeah, that's kind of what I was originally thinking when you first described the film a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, I don't know if I necessarily want to watch that,
For sure.
And then I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. So yeah, we'll have to.
You hear Black Rambo and you think someone being wronged. And maybe that can be a bit gratuitous or exploitative, but I feel like the movie does have a little bit more to say about that and takes it in an interesting direction overall. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants any more selling or needs anything else on it, basically the streamlined plot is that a gentleman is trying to get a family member out on bail, and he's running into a lot of obstacles for people trying to make that happen. And it's set in more or less the modern day in, I want to say it's like Alabama, Mississippi or something like that.
For some reason, I took it as Louisiana,
Maybe,
but
yeah.
I don't even know if they actually confirm it.
Yeah, it could be something. Yeah, somewhere in the South. Yeah, it's got I think Saulnier has a really strong tone and idea and character development for everyday Americans. Like, I feel like he's very good at like small town life or like middle America life, like those rural towns, kind of like more what those tones are and what those people are actually like than maybe a lot of what you see in different movies and different media and that kind of depictions as well too. But yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of this one. I would say I'm a recommend. Tyler, Blake, you guys both sound like you're on the recommends as well too.
Yeah, I'd say if you're looking for something to watch and you don't want to go to a theater, and it's just easier to be at home, this is definitely one I would recommend.
Yeah, I agree with Ty.
Yeah.
For a living room movie, you probably can't find too much better than this out right now.
I think, Jeremy Saulnier, master attention. He's so good at just like starting you with one thing and like just working you up and like, okay, here's the obstacles, here's what they want, and here's why they can't have it, and then you just go from there. So big recommend for me. Trio of recommends. We'll see what Adam says, but really, he's outvoted. So yeah,
very true.
Recommends all around, boys.
Very true.
I will. Let's do spoilers with some applause.
There you go.
Shit goes down, as we say here on the pod, but maybe not in the way you think, as I said earlier as well too. I don't think he doesn't kill anybody the whole time.
It's one of the like most redeeming qualities of the film. Not to like downplay it per se. That's awesome. I don't know if I've really seen that in a movie.
Yeah,
where like a guy's like on a revenge rampage, but like he hasn't killed anybody.
Yep.
So you see his moral compass, and he's such a level-headed individual. Like, yeah, it's a powerful statement.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought, like, again, the movie starts with this very like a scene that us as I feel like as a culture are very aware of now, right? And we're like, oh shit, we know how this is gonna go. And like Saulnier is a good enough director to like play that out, and like you're there with him, and you're in the same mode that you're. But Terry as a character, I think, does have that extra gear, whereas normally in this type of movie, us as the audience are like, oh well, he's a killer, and they just don't know that. Whereas like in this one, it's like, no, he's gonna fuck him up, but like also they're gonna have to deal with it afterwards too, because they're not they're not gonna like. This is not going to go the way they think they go, and it's not going to go the way that we think it's going to go either. And yeah, the oh shit, he's on Wikipedia scene is probably a highlight of the year for me as well.
Love it. Yeah, they're like, what the fuck does that acronym mean? Is I don't know. And they're like, look it up. And then it's like close quarters combat.
Yeah, and I think he said MC map or whatever. And like at first they're like, oh, he's dealing with maps. Like it's not a big deal. Like whatever. Yeah. And then like,
turns out he can turn literally anything into a weapon, including you.
Where they're like, I love too the detail of like, oh well, he didn't deploy, so like he doesn't know shit or whatever. They have that like that little extra thing of like yeah, exactly. That little thing to like needle him with and make him like he becomes lesser in their eyes because of that. And no, it's completely wrong. I would go ahead, Blake.
Sorry. I was gonna say my question when you were chatting about the trailer for this. So I haven't watched it. What does the trailer make the film out to be? Is it assume like the police brutality take?
Yeah, it definitely makes it feel like it's going to be like John Wick, Rambo. Like he gets wronged, then he takes out that whole police department kind of thing.
Okay,
overall,
right? For sure.
Which, like, you know, there's a part of me that wants to see that movie as well.
Yeah,
too.
That's the easy route.
Like 100%. And I had a friend that saw it and had a very column about it as well too that I thought was completely accurate. And his basically like his thing was, as soon as you introduce the race portion of it and like that becomes a focus and part of your film and you're set and that's where you're setting it like and you set it up as this almost revenge thriller, like you to not go that way is also like it is saying something else too, and that can be interpreted as it not following through on kind of like what it says of kind of I don't want to say being a coward, but like the phrase he used was like it loses its nerve kind of thing to like follow through on that. And I think that's a understandable and realistic criticism to pull from that as well too. But I feel like the movie itself is also interested in a lot of other details besides that. Things like within the community, how that they are like, again, the details of like, he is a veteran, but he never deployed and that kind of thing. Like it's all of these extra things on there as well too. And I mean, 100%, the race is going to be a huge part of that. But it wasn't one that I felt like, or wasn't a part of it that made me feel like the movie lost something in the end. I definitely felt like while I was watching it, there was times where I was like, okay, I wonder where they're going with this. But it didn't. I feel like it tied together pretty well for me in the end.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, kind of from start to finish, I got a pretty good feeling about everything. The only thing that I thought was pretty cheesy was him getting hit by the cop car in the beginning. It was clearly CGI.
Oh,
and I was like,
pretty much just gets like an elbow straight only. And it's like, I don't know, man. You'd be pretty fucked up right about that.
I thought the twist with who her ally was, you always kind of thought it was the female cop.
Yeah.
But at some point I was like, it's the other guy. It's not him. And then that whole kind of a climax fight scene where he's got the smoke grenades and everything like that. I love that he's just kind of, mobbing his way through there and beating the shit out of people and not really, like we said, he's not killing anybody. He's very Batman. he's part of the darkness.
When he rolls under that car and flips that guy that's just been a dick the whole movie.
Oh yeah. I was like this. As soon as he got a hold of him, I was like, all right, this is the guy we could put a couple extra work in. I don't care about this guy.
I think
shout out to that guy. He made it really easy to fucking hate him. Regardless of whether it's just the writing or his fucking face. I absolutely would have beat the shit out of him as well. So.
I think he screams like neck bone motherfucker at him. I was like, that's the best. That scene's, I think, incredible. The other big emotional scene for me was him on the bike on the bus where he races the bus and then like just to prove the point, like pulls up next to the driver as well too. And then like fist bumps his cousin or whatever. I was nearly standing on my chair. I was like, this is the best.
Yeah, it just kind of it gives you that feeling to it sets the tone for him not giving up. He's clearly a fighter and he clearly is on a mission and he's part of the military or was at some point, and so he's very very mission based, and so that's kind of his angle and that's what he knows he has to do. And it's very cool to add that to like his character building. And just to kind of get an initial vibe of, what he stands for and kind of what his character is.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for listeners to kind of paint a picture for the story, and Nathaniel and Sal, you have to help me out here if I understand correctly.
Sure.
So the police department has been wrongdoing like the community for incredibly long time.
Right.
And what our protagonist is doing is it his brother or his cousin?
His cousin.
I forgot. His cousin? Yeah, so he's in jail right now, and they're going to move him to a separate jail where the police believes that if he's moved to that jail, ultimately he'd end up dying.
Yeah.
Well, so he's a character witness for a murder. And so he knows as soon as he gets put into general population at an actual federal prison
Right.
that
Yeah.
they're gonna know who he is, because he's been currently just sitting in jail.
Yeah, the local jail. Right.
And so yeah, he knows. That's why he's trying to rush on the bail and everything like that.
Right. And then, yeah, basically it's a whole thing of and again, it's like, this is what for me, like, makes a bunch of the movie work, is that, like, in the end, you find out exactly what has happened. And it is like, and it all makes sense. Like, there was a corrupt cop. He was kind of a dick. He was sued by someone. That suing basically bankrupted the county. And then he figured out a way by manipulating the laws, that he got to keep his job. And the county couldn't really do anything about it. And that's what everything is, like, covering up to this point. And that is the way that Terry gets involved into it, because Mike is one of the victims of this way that he is staying in power, kind of thing.
Right.
And the only one that is able to help him is Anna Sophia Robb, or the only one who will help him, I should say. He generally helps himself. Is Anna Sophia Robb, who's like a what's the word? A legal assistant kind of thing, working on her.
Kind of on her track to be
paralegal
defender.
Yep.
You know,
working her way back up there. I think that's a character that, like, in a lesser movie would get a lot less screen time and have a lot less kind of about her as well too. I think they do a good job of tying her in to the plot and understanding both where her and Terry are coming from, and, like, it's not a love interest or anything like that. It's just a good pairing of two individuals who actually care about this
who
place.
have the same mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that was also awesome to see, that they didn't spin that into a love story.
Yep.
Because I feel like that's where this would go, like 9 out of 10 times. Right. And, like, no, there is no romance involved in this film. There is no love story anywhere in this film. It's a guy who's been wronged, or a community who's been wronged, and he's basically just going back trying to set everything straight. But yeah, I'm so glad they didn't take the way with him and what's her name? Anna Sophia. I forgot the character's name.
Yeah, I forget it too.
Of her being the legal attorney. I'm so glad they do that, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I know where this is going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they ultimately don't take it. Speaking of Sophia's character, though, like, she's got one of the funniest scenes in there where they're at the restaurant owner, and she thanks the guy for serving, like, thinking he was in the U.S. military.
Oh yeah.
The guy's like actually fought for, like, China or something like that. Yeah, that.
He's like, he's in the Korean War, and then she's like, "Thank you for the service." He's like, he's Chinese. He fought on the Korean side.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But again, like, another character where I think, like, in a lesser movie, like, that guy is just in the background, or like he's a affiliated with a mob or something like that. That kind of thing. Where it's all part of that stuff. Where I feel like in Saulnier movies, the characters are always very grounded and very realistic, but B, they're always trying to make those choices that actually make sense. Or, like, if they make the wrong choice, and because of it, it's like in Green Room, there's tons of times where they make the wrong choice, but it's understandable because they're in an emotionally fucked up situation, kind of thing. Whereas, like, this, you get it again, where he even says, like, I've got my acronyms, and, like, this is where you are on, like, my list of things that I'm trying to get done. It's really good dramatic filmmaking, in my opinion. And
what's the acronym he gives the police chief? It's PACE.
PACE, yeah.
I forgot what it's. Yeah,
primary, alternate. I think he gets to C in contingency, and then he never says E. He's like, "You're
E, right?" But obviously, it's emergency.
Yeah.
Right. This is how we take it.
I was like, it's either that or extreme or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I again, shout out to dialogue in this movie. I think it's the dialogue in this keeps it brisk, keeps it going. It's a 2-hour movie, but it feels like it doesn't really drag for me.
I didn't think it felt long at all. I think it had a really good pace.
Ayo. And great final shot. Love the bit where he's like, "We fucking got this guy. I got the evidence. Just sitting there, like, it's over."
Oh, after he carries Sophia's character to the
Yeah,
ER.
he gets the
Whatever,
DVR
yeah.
out of the trunk.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah. And I don't even know if we brought up how they inject her with heroin.
Yeah,
It's like crazy, but
wild,
I'm like,
right?
that's like that was wild, but I'm like, that's a green room right there.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, when they break into her place, and that's another thing where like that character again, like he gives her more to do than normal. Like that whole heroine subplot is kind of hinted at a certain point, but then it's brought in and you immediately are like, oh shit, like I get all of her actions kind of make sense as well too. It's adding depth to the character rather than just another character flaw
placeholder.
or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don Johnson plays a great jerk. Like just the fucking worst.
Facts.
But yeah, that's Rebel Ridge, folks. I think pretty positive all around. I don't know. We'll rank it maybe when we're all together again next week or something like that. But it's gonna be, I would say it's in my top 5 of the year. I think I was really surprised by this. I was pretty. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for Jeremy Saulnier though. Like he is just my guy right now too. I want him to do another horror movie so bad. Like I think he would just nail it.
Yeah, I would have to kind of put everything together from this year to see where it landed. But I'm still uber positive for it being a Netflix movie and obviously a significantly lower budget than
Right.
most of the movies that we've seen this year, most of the stuff that is going to go to the top of the list of this year. So just goes to show what you can do with good filmmaking, good actors, good writing and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, apparently this had kind of a tough time getting there too. Like it was delayed from the writer strike or the actor strike as well too. And then originally it was going to be John Boyega in the main role. Yeah, and he dropped out and they had to
kudos
replace
to him, but I'm glad that wasn't him.
Yeah.
Kudos to him though. No disrespect. And I want to say somebody else was also even involved with this at a time too. I was reading, I forgot who it was. Pardon me, I can't think. But
No,
while
you're
you
good.
brought up Don Johnson, funny enough, he plays a great asshole in this. And he also plays like a subliminal great asshole in Django.
I was gonna say
Well.
it's right back. Those guys are like 1 and 2 next to each other.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
One guy could
This
be
is
the
this is-
descendant of the other one.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is just the modern day version of that.
For sure.
When he says like whatever, he's like that. Oh, that was the problem. You thought you could kind of thing. Like that's the reason he's fucking with. I was just like, God, Don Johnson, you.
Yeah.
You.
It's the same bloodline.
Yeah.
The same that same blood runs through my veins.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's funny.
what is it too? There's another point in it where he's like, just because you were right doesn't mean that we were wrong. And I was just like, oh man, that is fucking that guy to a T. Like we've all met that asshole.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. Then it even opened the doors on I forgot the actual legality term or legal term where they're able to seize like assets and money.
Civil forfeiture.
Thank
Civil
you.
forfeiture is what that's called.
And that kind of opened some knowledge on my end of that. We're like, that's not something that I would have known.
Sure.
But I'm nowhere near versed in any legal verbiage and kind of the courthouse and things of that nature, which is how they end up doing him from the jump.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's a
He
real
has
thing. That is
something brand. Yeah.
a
it was
real
which I
thing you
didn't
can
know. It's
do.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
sure.
They just gotta find some reason to say that it's like drug money or something or associated with a crime, and then it is fucked.
Yeah.
Overall,
Overall, man, pleasant movie. Very, very pleasant movie. Going in blind was awesome.
Yeah, I would recommend people see this. See it blind if you can. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, it's been up there for 2 or 3 weeks now, and like I said, I think it's still trending like 1 or 2. So hopefully, people are out and seeing this one.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, great. I don't want to say debut for Aaron Pierre because he's been in a few other films, but this is probably the first feature
Breakout.
length film he's been a protagonist in.
Yeah.
I only know him from Old. M. Night Shyamalan's Old. From, like, what's that,
Mid-sized sedan.
2022? Yeah, and he has the goofiest fucking name in that movie. And I wasn't able to piece together as him. It's like halfway through, but his eyes give it away.
Yeah.
He has very unique eyes, and I was like, oh, I think I know this guy.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. All in all, yeah, good for Netflix. More interesting that Tyler was talking about, like, the budget. How this is better than most films for its budget, and I think the budget on this was around 30 million, and it's also like crazy that that's now like Netflix like film territory. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're paying fucking $20 a month for a
Right.
subscription service. And you got a billion people subscribing
If
to
they're
it.
if they're gonna keep giving it to Jeremy Saulnier, I'm fine with it. Take the Rock's money
For sure.
away, like
Yeah.
fucking whatever that Red Notice or whatever, burn that shit. Give it to Jeremy Saulnier and just let the man cook. All right, folks. Yeah, that's going to end our review segment for this episode of Back Row Banter. You guys want to talk what you're watching recently, real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
Football.
Sure. Kickoff. It's it is
valid.
week 1.
Lots of football. So yeah, got to see. We were talking earlier to see Malik Willis win a game, which a lot of people were probably betting against, and I do not blame them. And then Leah and I started another Netflix series called The Perfect Couple. It's basically a murder mystery.
Oh yeah. Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Yep.
Yeah, based off a book. We sell it.
Sabretooth, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a pretty good little series so far. It's definitely book vibes for sure.
Sure.
And I think, if you've read any kind of like those murder mystery books, you kind of immediately get that vibe from it. So they do a pretty good job there. And then the other show that I kind of started by myself was Fallout.
Oh yeah, I love Fallout.
So so I'm through episode 4. But overall, really good. I obviously heard a lot of good things about it. I played like the first couple Fallout games, but not to like completion. They weren't really super overly fun for me. Justin definitely put a lot more time into those than I did. They were kind of before I really stepped into that realm of gaming, which has easily become, some of my favorite type of gaming, just RPGs, MMOs and stuff like that versus, just typical first person combative shooting. And so yeah, it would be cool to maybe do a replay of it to, see if the stories match up at all. I honestly don't know, but I do know that from a design standpoint, they did a killer job, making the towns look like they would in a video game. There's if you've ever played any of those games, you obviously know there's only a certain amount of things you can go into or a certain amount of things you could see, even though it might be believed to be a bigger setting than what it is. But they do a really good job at still making it compact and still being able to build a large world within that, which is what video games are. But overall, I'm having a really good time with it. I'll be excited to kind of see where it goes from there. And then I think my next show that I'll probably go on to solo is Shogun, because I know that got a lot of other really high recommends and got quite a few awards for things. And so that'll probably be my next solo watch when I need something else to kind of watch by myself.
Okay. That's fair. In terms of Fallout, is that a Prime joint or an HBO?
It is on Prime,
right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah. How many seasons they have of that?
It's just one so far.
Okay. any rumors or knowledge on if they're going to renew that? Because I've heard pretty redeeming qualities for the most part on it.
Yeah, I haven't done a ton of research or looked into it to see if there's like a guarantee for it already. There's definitely enough there's enough meat on the bone to go into a second season from a plot standpoint. But then there's also kind of lost my train of thought. But there's plenty of room for them to there's a lot of fandom backing as well. This definitely got good enough reviews to where it would not surprise me if it got greenlit for a second season, or it might already be, and I just don't know.
Sure. Which makes sense coming from. I mean, it's an IP that's got. I think there's like fucking 4 or 5 Fallout video games. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
they've spanned
There's
over,
4, I
10 plus
believe.
years.
And spin-offs as well too. But
Yeah, and there are spin-offs.
TV show was delightful. I had a great time with it. Like it was just a fun
Oh, so you
time.
finished it?
Yeah, I finished it when it came out, I want to say. I love Walton Goggins, so I'll watch just about anything with him in it. And it was pretty great.
Yeah,
funny enough,
ton of
I
fun.
feel like my dad watched that show too. I'll have to,
For
call
sure.
him and ask. But I think that is one he's seen. But yeah, that's not a bad list. Ty, you got anything else on there with you and Leah?
No, nothing really. Nothing of note, at least. It's really just kind of those few things. Nathaniel, while you were gone, I said my next solo show that I'll probably pick up is Shogun, because I've
Sure.
heard
Yeah, you would love it.
killer
You'll love
killer
Shogun.
things, and yeah, that genre is obviously right up my alley. So
Yeah, I watched
But,
Shogun when it came out. I think I talked about that on pod. It's good.
I think you did a little bit too. Yeah. Well, what are you watching, Blake?
Yeah, so I've ton of football, of course, as you can imagine, college
Yeah.
and professional. So kind of rooting for the Bears, hoping they can do something there. Caleb looks he's struggling as expected though for a rookie, but we've won one game, kept it close with the Texans, who are a pretty good team. Unfortunately, the Ravens haven't won a game yet. They're 0-2, so
Damn, that's my team.
tough, man. Yeah, one of those are to the Chiefs.
Okay.
Who we all know are very good.
Right.
So one of those was the Chiefs, and they lost like on a last minute, the last play of the game. Right, the guy I caught it wasn't enough to the Raiders, which doesn't help because now you're starting 0-2, and it
Yeah.
kind of puts you in panic mode per
That's
se.
true.
Like, you don't want to go 0-3 or 0-4. Right, that's a
Absolutely.
hard hole to dig out of football.
And
So
falling to the
hopefully they can figure
Raiders
something out.
is hard.
Yeah,
I
that's
I'm telling
one
you,
of
man.
those where you need to win that.
I can never get
Yeah.
the rhythm of like a football season or even college football down as well too. Like because again, my team, the Montana Grizz, they won their first game, they lost their second one.
They lost recently, right?
They lost their
That's what I
second
thought.
one, yeah, and then they smoked the other
Who'd they
team.
lose to?
North Dakota State or something like that. A team
Okay,
that's like
sure,
like
yeah.
it's okay, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
as the team that went to the Natty last year, like apparently
Right.
if you go 0-2 or if you go like 1-1, like they were almost in panic mode.
Right.
Like I was just like, this is
Yeah,
crazy.
for sure.
Like,
Right.
and you're losing to like one of the other
That's
top
the downside
teams.
of football.
Like, it's
For
this
sure,
it's
for
these
sure,
things
bro.
like you have to win. Like even in like I feel like even in fighting they're not, well, I guess maybe not in boxing, but like even some of that stuff, it's not as like life or death on some of these teams that like you're gonna absolutely lose to a team that just sneaks up on you one day or something like that, and then your season's shot, right? Like that's the crazy thing for me.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So yeah, been doing that. So we'll see what's going on. Next thing I've watched. So I got to a horror movie that came out early in the year that I wanted to get to in theaters, but it didn't have time to get to it, and I caught In a Violent Nature.
Dang. Okay.
Um,
Did you stream it? Is that somewhere that I can watch it?
Yeah, I believe it's on Prime.
Okay. All right. I got Prime.
Thought I watched it on Prime,
I got Prime.
or perhaps it was Shudder.
I know Shudder's always the one that I'm like, I only want it like 2 months out of the year, but when I want it for
Yeah.
those 2 months, I really want it.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I ended up watching that, and I knew enough about it because now, in fact, it's a 4-month-old movie, right? But went in relatively blind for the most part. I remember kind of the promos and stuff when it came out, and it's it's good. It's definitely a new take on the slasher film that we've seen countless times, right?
Sure.
Essentially, it's Friday the 13th. But you just have a lot of, I don't want to say it's the point of view of the killer because there's really no like first person shots.
Got
The
it.
camera's just more so following him. So it's like it's his perspective per se, but not necessarily point of view.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. I
Um,
get what you're saying. It's not a
right. So
first person POV shot. It is
correct.
but it is
Yeah.
centering on the killer. You follow the killer rather than like the victims kind of thing.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. Kind of a new spin on that, but it's a film that we've seen a handful of times. Now, to its defense, it does lean into being self-aware that it is a Friday the 13th-esque movie.
Okay.
So it does do some things to kind of divert where you think that's going. Spoiler alert, if you've seen if you've seen the
Sure.
original second or third Friday the 13th, right? So there are some characters in there where you're like, oh, I think I know where this is going, and it doesn't quite go there. So that's kind of cool to see. And it's just, yeah, man, you watch this guy go on a killing spree. There is a kill in there though that is one of the better kills that I've seen in a very long time.
Okay.
To be fair, it's almost like Mortal Kombat fatality-esque, grossly over the top, you know. But it's like, oh, okay, they went there. You know what I mean? A lot of practical effects too. So yeah, that's kind of the only new joint I saw. And yeah, we'll keep rolling on a few other things. But yeah, that's what I want to share. So and then video game wise, I told you Silent Hill remake is coming out in October.
True.
That's one I think I may actually break down and get that one. Silent Hills. Big game to me when I was young. Played the Resident Evils, and they haven't had a Silent Hill remake in a very long time. So I want to try to get to that. And then there's another thing I was going to bring up. I forgot what it was. Lost my train of thought. So yeah, that's it on my end. We'll go to Nathaniel.
Yeah, fellas. So I've been watching a few things. Big one over the weekend was I watched UFC 306 at the Sphere, or Sphere, I should say. There's
now, did my man fight? Ironically, a Montana Grizz fan.
True. Yeah. Not
Was
Connor.
that this week?
Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley did fight.
Yeah. Okay. How do you fare?
He lost. He got his ass beat.
Oh, Grizz lost and Sugar Shay
Well,
lost.
yeah. Grizz won the weekend that Sean fought, so we were 1-0 on that one. But yeah, Sean O'Malley, not my favorite fighter, but he's very good, and he just ran into a bad style matchup against him, a guy that's got a wrestling and cardio for days, and just mauled him. But that was the one at Sphere, which was at the big Las Vegas Sphere thing. So they had these big backgrounds and stuff, and there was all this hoopla about all these crazy videos that they were going to do because it was supposed to be for Mexican Independence Day, but it was being presented by Saudi Arabia, and it was in the USA, featuring a Montanan fighter versus a Georgian, as in the country of Georgia, fighter. So very little Mexican going on there.
One more time.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. So you said it was for Mexican Independence Day.
Yep. Sponsored.
Funded by Saudi Arabia.
Correct. Yep. Featuring
taking place on U.S. soil.
On U.S. soil in Las Vegas. Featuring in the main card a Russian fighter versus a Montanan fighter as well too. So
capitalism.
Yeah, there you go, boys. Now, to be fair, that I'm pretty sure every other fight on the card basically had a Mexican fighter in it, but
sure,
yeah, it was pretty funny as well too. So you know,
yeah, that's nuts.
Applaud the UFC for doing something different. Wish they maybe thought about it a little bit more.
For sure, yeah. They need a little more,
a little more tact. But you know, that's the UFC. What are you gonna do? Fair. So beyond that, I saw a movie this weekend called The Killer's Game, which came out with Dave Bautista, where basically the premise is that he's in. It's kind of like Smoking Aces, if you've ever seen that. Instead of instead of a bunch of assassins coming to kill like a one guy, they're all coming to kill him because he's a famous assassin. Finds out he has some sort of incurable disease. He's like, okay, well, rather than put my girlfriend through this, I'm gonna call a hit in on me and then finds out that they mixed up the diagnosis, so that he's got to battle all of the guys that are trying to kill him at that point as well too. So pretty dumb fun, but I feel like if you grew up in the mid-thousands, this was like a movie that would 100% just like you throw on a Saturday morning or something like that.
Yeah.
A little hungover, maybe just need a few laughs.
That's a theatrical release?
It was, yeah, which I'm surprised about. But there was probably
sounds
4 or
like
5
that, for
people there, to be honest with you. So it wasn't as empty as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been watching, and yeah, we'll go from there. Oh, it is getting to be spooky season, folks. So get ready for those scary movies. I've been reading some scary stuff. But yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying that. That actually just brought my train of thought back to the station per se. And you said scary movies because in terms of video games and Mortal Kombat, it's confirmed that Ghostface is in MK1, and I believe he's one of the next DLC character releases.
There we go.
So pretty cool. I want to see what that looks like. I really hope that the person wearing the mask is Billy Loomis and Stu Macher.
They're just
not
tripping
just
over
like
themselves.
other Mortal Kombat characters.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They'll probably never remove the mask, but I hope that's what they lean into. But yeah, nonetheless, really cool. Never would have thought we'd get Ghostface in a Mortal Kombat game. So that's awesome for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see all the videos of all of his finishers once you're done.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. Any good horror movies coming out this October, Nathaniel?
Well, there's that Hear No Evil, Speak No Evil that came out that we've been seeing a bunch of stuff for James McAvoy.
Yeah.
There was a Halle Berry one that
which is a remake.
Yeah, and apparently the other one
Check
is like crazy and like it's supposed to be pretty good. So
yeah, I've never seen it, but it's new too.
Yeah,
the
it's
other
like-
one has got to be like 2 or 3 years.
yeah, it's like it is a Danish movie, so it's supposed to be pretty
Yes.
good. That Halle Berry's got one that's coming out just now.
Old. Oh wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, I keep seeing that getting advertised. It's like Don't Let Go or something like that. It seems to be kind of a Bird
Sure.
Box-esque. Never Let Go. There you go. Opening September 20th. Other than that, let's see what's coming up. What's coming soon? Been hearing a lot about this The Substance. That's supposed to be kind of like a body horror one where like they're like dehydrating young people and getting their young goop, giving it to the olds.
Gross, dude.
Yeah, right. Weird.
When's so I know they got Terrifier 3 coming out.
Yeah,
It's
that's definitely a big one. October 11th is what that's saying here.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know if that was a December release because I know it's placed around Christmas,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it makes sense that they're making it an
Yeah, yeah.
October release. Crazy that they've made 3 of those films now.
Right.
From the first one being like $1 billion film, probably
Yeah.
less than that, probably a $500,000 film.
Yeah, and it just seems to be
now
that
they're getting-
one guy just going nuts.
Oh,
with
yeah,
it,
man.
right? Yeah.
I think he's just funding it with fundraisers and whatnot. But yeah, he's investing. And then Smile, they're making a Smile.
Oh yeah,
too.
Smile too. Yeah, that's
I
right.
don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, we'll see if they can bring it back.
I don't know.
We'll
how I
see how
feel
many
about
smiles
that.
there are.
Yeah, right. Granted, the first film, it's, and I say this a lot, but it is one of those films that has no business being as good as it is.
Sure.
Not that it's like the best horror movie by any means, but I thought that would be like a Truth or Dare type of horror movie.
Okay,
if
yeah,
anyone's seen
yeah.
that.
Sure.
And it's like way better than
No,
something
it's
like that,
definitely a
right?
cut
So-
above that. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, nonetheless, that's why they're getting another one. Sure they made a shit ton of money from that in the box office, but I haven't seen a ton of promo like they did for the first one. First one had a huge marketing campaign.
Late edition here from Adam. Quick review from him. He says, decent movie, and I had fun with it, but doesn't do enough to separate itself from feeling like Reacher. Okay, yeah, I guess I could kind of see that.
Whatever, dude. You don't know.
Still good though, enjoyable action, and I would love to see more of Aaron Pierre. Or he says actually of the Aaron Pierre. So maybe he's he's giving him like the Ohio State University kind of thing here.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so there you go for that, folks. I think he's wrong, but there's that.
Do we want to provide our rankings now that we got Adams in the books? Because he's got 104.
He does have a ranking.
Do we want to list this thing on there?
Sure. Let's do that real quick. That's going to be at 105. Just need to let myself know.
4, which would end up being below Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem and above Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That movie's so good, dude.
I'll have to do a rewatch again soon.
Telling you, man, that's my.
I would definitely be higher than that.
I think I'm with you. Yeah.
I don't know how high I'm going to be. Let's see. Green Room's way up at 27. Never going to be that high.
Yeah.
Not going to be that high.
Brother.
Yeah. Let's do it again, brother.
I'd be a little higher. I'll be at 93. I'll cap it at Blade. You're not passing Blade. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Aaron Pierre would be a good Blade.
That's also probably true, honestly.
I heard he was rumored to be in there at one point.
Oh, damn.
Then they end up dropping it. Yeah. Because that was in the woodworks for a long time.
Yeah, man. I would say
is Mia Goth still on that too?
Oh,
by the way, she was rumored with
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning more towards like a 77. Just below Top Gun Maverick, above Glass Onion. And The Gentleman, Bullet Train, kind of in there.
Yeah, Terminator.
Yeah,
Red Line. Those are just too
so
hard
like
for me to.
Those are definitely the ones that pop out, and I see them. Same thing with like Blade,
sure.
Weathering with You. But at the same time, I feel like I like this better than Bullet Train. I think it might enter into one of those like things that I watch a lot, like The Gentleman. And I think I had more emotional reaction to it than Glass Onion. So not quite going to be Top Gun Maverick, Pig, A Knight's Tale, Inside Out 2. All of those I think are just kind of that next tier. Then you're into like Kill Bill Volume 2 and some of those heavy hitters.
Yeah,
so
right.
77 for me. Just below Top Gun Maverick, just above Glass Onion.
Okay, so we got 104, Adam 77, Nathaniel, and 93 for Ty. Yeah, I like Adam's placing. I originally said I'd be higher, but then I look and it immediately goes Barbarian, Malignant, Wolverine, Deadpool, sure, but then The Descent, and that's probably a really hard cap for me. And then just above that, then you get into Blade, Predator. It's tough. District 9, Paid in Full. So
of course.
I think I'm ultimately gonna end up agreeing with Adam at 104.
Okay.
And that being my placeholder.
So
94.5.
Yeah, that gives us an average of 94.5. Which does that mean it goes in between, or does that mean it goes?
We got to put this after Predator, folks,
right? So it'd be after Predator, above La La Land, or above Pinocchio. Excuse me.
Pinocchio, yeah.
So that'd be it at 95 then.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I can actually add that on there. I don't know if we have admin access, but Adam, add us in there. 95 for Rebel Ridge.
There it is. Pretty good for a Netflix film, though, man.
Pretty much, yeah.
For sure.
Good for it.
Project Power is fucking buried.
Yeah.
Is that the only other Netflix film we have on here?
No.
Was American Pickle a Netflix film?
American Pickle was HBO.
Oh, wow. What else on here is a Netflix original? Project Power to Ty's point. I don't know if we have. Army of the Dead's a Netflix joint.
Yep.
Right. That's at 151. So
Del Toro's Pinocchio.
They are inherently low.
Del Toro's Pinocchio, which we did, which I think is right after it or right above it. That was a Netflix as well too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so we've got about 5 or so on here. This seems to be the cream of the crop, right? This and Pinocchio. I can't imagine there's anything above those. So, all right, there it is.
Well, folks, I think that'll probably actually end us for this week right there. Glad you built up to that. Next week is going to be. Do we have next week out already? Can't remember. Post pod Adam, jump in here. Tell him what it's going to be. It's going to be a movie. And
I believe it's supposed to be my pick for my birthday.
Oh, Tyler's
but
birthday
I will
pick.
have to. I'll have to get back to that.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite host, Post Pod Adam, coming at you with a post pod update on what we are watching next week. After some deliberation, Tyler decided to pick Jaws as his birthday pick. That is currently streaming on Netflix, so go ahead, check that out if you have not already, and then join us for our review of Jaws next week.
Alrighty. Well, you heard it here first, folks. That'll be fun. And until next week, be excellent to each other, and we'll BRB. Oh, no, we need to go around and do the plugs, don't we? Yeah. Where can people find you at, Blake? I'm sorry.
All good, brother. Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on the logging things, rate them out of 5 stars. I think I actually have to go into add a rich rating. So apologies for slacking on that. PlayStation, Xbox, Mr. Water Coolers. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Ty?
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X, all at Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES, Nathaniel.
And you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @NSKingrick. You can find me on Instagram, NathanielG92. That will be it for us this week. Be excellent to each other, and we will BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Blake, how you feeling about Caleb?
I mean,
Still a little early for you to kind of tell, or you kind of
yeah, it's early, and you gotta kind of temper expectations with rookies, right? I mean, I think he's got the talent, and some of the escapability, right, and things that we need, but that O line's ass, and was ass last year, to be fair, and that is very hard to judge somebody as a quarterback playing behind bad O line play.
Do I detect a however coming, though? Uh-oh. I think we lost you there, Blake. I don't hear you. Oh, it's me, apparently. I think, Tyler, can you hear him? Okay, yeah, so it is me. All right, give me a second. I'll see if I can get it swapped here.
The team, so I can see the silver lining in that. One thing I was fucking surprised by is the fucking Packers winning with Malik Willis.
Malik Willis, baby.
Mind-blowing, bro.
Yeah, so
Love
did your boy Jordan Love get hurt or something?
Yeah, he sprained
Was it
some
knee,
stuff in his
ankle, or
knee.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turf monsters.
So a lot of people. No, it was from a tackle.
Yeah. Tackle from the turf monster.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. And usually I blame the turf. I hate turf.
I was gonna say anyone twist an ankle or a knee, I'm just
man.
yelling at turf nowadays.
It's committed so many crimes against so many ACLs, and Achilles last year was the big one, and so yeah, man, it's fucked. I think it's so dangerous, but what do I know? But yeah, he sprained some stuff. A lot of people thought he tore his ACL. People were like, it's game over. And
Yeah.
so the next day they learned that it was a sprain, and they gave him a pretty big gap. They said 2 to 8 weeks, but
Yo,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you want him to be on the short side of that, but it's also like,
yeah,
could be
I
out
think
for the
they were
season,
just
could be out. Like, come
yeah,
on.
I think they were just trying to temper expectations, kind of, and just make sure that they weren't putting him under any pressure. And I think they honestly wanted to see how Malik would perform. Because if he is, it's always good to have a viable secondary quarterback, which we just don't currently have right now.
One of the most important pieces of a football team.
Yeah, man. And we dropped 2 people we drafted one kid late in the draft, dropped him, and then dropped one of the other guys who ended up getting one of the guys ended up taking Willis's job back in college, and there's like this whole like triangle that happened of trades that somehow we ended up with Malik. But he played really well, man. He played well. Josh Jacobs showed up.
I could not believe that shit.
The whole line showed up. Defense fucking dude picks like crazy.
Did what they had to do for sure. That was
man.
They did what they had to do to have Malik Willis win a game, right? Because if you go back to him playing at Tennessee, granted, the Packers are a much better organization, and that shit goes a long way from like coaching, ownership, putting people in the right positions to win. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows sports. So the Packers were going to continue to do that. But that was one of those where I was like, dude, like you're liable to not win a single game as long as Malik Willis is playing quarterback. That's how bad he's looked. And then sure enough, the first game he wins, I'm just like, motherfucker, bro. The being a good organization is so good.
It's wild, man, when you really do have the right people around you, and it could have really honestly been that, like Malik just hasn't been coached the way that he needs to be coached, or it's so weird.
He probably wasn't at fucking Tennessee.
It's so weird when you get to that level of sport, and just how something like that can just change your whole game up, or just like running the right scheme that works for you. And there's so many different types of offenses out there that this one, they really do know how to draft their quarterbacks, and make sure that quarterback is already going to kind of be aligned with our offense. And so it's cool. I mean, even when I was in high school, that was something that like the Pee Wee football teams that I played on started to run the same offense and defensive schemes that we were going to be playing in offense or on offense and defense in high school.
Absolutely, bro. That's how you do it.
And so if you want to win. Yeah, 100%. And that's why me and like 5 other buddies ended up playing for a different Pee Wee team and a different middle school team, because we were going to play for the better high school team. And our parents wanted us, and the coaches wanted us to be able to play in that scheme our entire way up.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it goes a long way, and that goes to show like how good of a coach Matt LaFleur is, where he's without a doubt one of the top probably 4 or 5 coaches we have in the NFL. Which man, you open a lot of doors for yourself with that dude. So that was heartbreaking to say as a Bears fan to see that, and was like, Jesus Christ. So I think you'll be fine, even if he wins another game and Jordan Love's out for. Say you go 2-2 with Malik Willis, like that's an ultimate win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean,
when you half the games he's in.
I wouldn't be surprised if Love was out for this next week too, just to make sure that he's 100%. But he does have 2 full days of practices under him this week, so.
Yeah, I saw that. So I would bet he ultimately plays the following week. I don't know.
I would agree, or at least me being, like if I was a coach, I'd be like, you know what, like Malik had a good week, you're looking healthy, but let's just see how he does, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see, man. It's a long season. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's very early.
On the sports thing, the playoffs for baseball's coming up, right? And I was talking to one of my friends at work today about that. I guess I didn't quite piece it together, but has anyone followed that, or Nathaniel? What are we thinking?
Well, baseball playoffs.
Diamondbacks have a chance.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah, they always do. They're I think they're still in wild card 2 spot currently.
Okay.
Let's see. What are the standings currently? We'll go to the league. Diamondbacks are currently in the second wild card spot at the moment. Hit a little bit of a cool spot there, but we should be all right. We'll see. Always got a chance to play in when those wild card games start firing up. So But yeah, other than that, looking like a lot of the normals, or at least on the National League, or half the league, I should say. Dodgers, I think, what do we got? Dodgers, Phillies, maybe might be the other ones coming out of the East, and then Brewers.
Or the-
Well, Milwaukee. Milwaukee's gonna win the Central, or already has.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Now, they're traditionally not that good at baseball, though, right? Or am I mistaken?
They're like a middle of the pack team for the most part. They've
Yeah.
had some good years there as well. They've had a good couple years recently. I should say. And over in the American League, got the Yankees, obviously, always there. Guardians, so that's Cleveland. Houston is going to be the other one, and then it looks like
I figured that name would come up. I feel like I've seen them win like 3 championships the past few years.
Yeah, and then Baltimore and Kansas City are your wild card teams right now for
Hey,
American League. So, yeah, fun group right there. We'll see how things go. I think it's like maybe 2 weeks left in the season now at this point, if that.
Yeah. So they start October, whatever that is, early October, something like that.
Late September, early October for sure.
Cool.